Hey, beautiful. I am so glad that you're here. Welcome to Inside the Apothecary, a space for real conversations about hormones, fertility, and the body. This is where we learn to understand the body, not fight it. Because your body isn't broken, it's communicating. So take a breath, get comfortable, and let's tune back into you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very first episode of Inside the Apothecary. I'm Mel.
And I'm Jaime.
And we are super excited to bring you this brand new podcast all about naturopathy and our patients and what we do in clinic and how we got here. We're going to cover it all. We're going to go through everything. I'm really excited to hear your personal story, Jaime, because we've worked together for a little while now. But sometimes, we don't get time to really just sit down and be like, how did you become a naturopath? So I'm interested to hear that side of things and really talk about, some of the key principles of naturopathy and why we love doing it and what we see in clinic every day. So that's what we're planning to cover, right? So
Absolutely.
do you want to, start with your story? Shall we start there?
No problem. So I always wanted to help people. It's something that I have been passionate about since I was a little girl, and I always wanted to be a doctor. And I originally started doing nursing out of uni, and then right at the end of my nursing degree, I developed a very severe allergic reaction to latex, and so I couldn't do it anymore, which was very unfortunate.
No.
So I sort of fell into sales, got a bit lost for a long time, didn't know what I was doing. And it wasn't until I was backpacking around the world that I realized that there was three things I wanted. And one from my future career was I needed to get back to helping people again. I wanted to get back into the health industry, and I wanted to be able to have my own business one day. And so I ended up falling into naturopathy when I was living in London and working as a nanny. And after the first year of living in London and studying, I realized I was obsessed with it. And so I came back to Australia, started working and studying in full time, face to face, and just loved it. And so for me, being able to help people, I love that when you're a naturopath, you see everything and anyone about anything. It's so varied. And I love how with naturopathy, the universe will kind of often when you study naturopathy, you have these certain ideas of what you're going to see in clinic. And I love how the universe will be like, nope, you're over here.
Yeah.
And so,
definitely.
I ended up doing a lot of work when I started in clinical practice with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, which was just amazing. And I had chronic fatigue when I was 18. So then to be able to help people with that was just amazing to realize there was help. And I've always struggled with endo myself. And as well, same thing, to be able to get to a point where I can help people, women with endo, from really a place of understanding, for me was just such a big deal because so often as women, we understand, we feel gaslit by the medical system when you go to doctors and you're like, something is wrong. I'm not supposed to feel this way. And they don't listen. So to be able to be in a naturopathy space in my clinic where I can sit and hold that space with someone and really spend time to get stuck into it and find the connections of everything was just really just lit my fire. And I loved it so much. And that just spurred on my passion more and more to want to be able to learn more and to be able to help more people. So it's just wonderful. And I'm so grateful and thankful every day that this is what we get to do. And I love it.
Yes,
So,
for sure.
right? It's amazing. Yeah.
We
So
have
what
such a
about
wide scope to be able to help people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is beautiful. And it means you can evolve. You can start with, like you said, your chronic fatigue stuff and then evolve into endo. And then for you and I know that's evolved into a lot of fertility work for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And,
Totally.
I still see constipation and eczema, but we are kind of specializing in that high-end fertility and IVF and, that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's awesome. My story is very similar.
Okay. Tell me.
We are pretty unique because we're young for naturopaths, I got to say most people don't find it until later because it's not really offered at uni and stuff like that. But I'm very similar. You did the nursing, I did the speech pathology and nuclear medicine and really did not love the outcome of what you're able to do at the end of those degrees. It's very limited. So there's no real treatment options. There's no real, there's nothing to offer to help people. And, that's what spurs me on too. That's my passion. I want to be able to help. I want to be able to affect change. I want to be able to make people
Mm,
feel good and better.
mm,
And yes, those things are very important. Don't get me wrong.
mhm,
But I do want to see that people can get better by what I'm offering. So naturopathy just kind of happened for me as well. It's weird and
mm.
wonderful. It found me. And, something that you mentioned there is, having chronic fatigue. And I know some of your health story as well. I
Mm,
know that there's very few naturopaths who get to this career without having quite a lot of ill health
mm.
occurrences themselves. So that's
Yeah,
something we're going to delve into throughout this podcast is really
definitely.
our stories and how we got here. Because I
Mm,
think even though we're here for our patients, one of the things that our patients love is that we have been through some stuff.
for
Like
sure.
when you tell
Yeah.
your patient, yeah, I've got endo, the relief on their face that you will
Mm,
understand is
yeah,
enormous.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But
so I'm
even
really
just being in
excited
a
about that.
consultation, but
Yeah.
even like I know, but like even just being in a consultation, all the time I get the end of the consultation and people are just like, "Oh my God, you listen, I really feel heard. I really feel like you kind of held me in that space and I was able to actually really explain what was going on and not made to feel crazy."
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's just so rewarding.
We have the ability to spend time with people, which is such a blessing in health.
Yeah.
It's something that is not readily available in many other allied health professions,
Mm,
or everything's time based, right?
yeah.
So we do have a little bit more time with people, and that allows us to do individualized care.
Mm,
A lot of the
yeah.
time, if you don't have that time, where other professions are trying to keep people alive. They're trying to keep people from having disease. They're just trying to heal the issue that is currently presenting. You and I, we have the ability to kind of look at what might be the root cause of that.
Yeah.
Naturopathy at its core is root cause medicine, right? Root,
Absolutely.
looking at the root and trying to dig it out, getting that
Mm,
weed out so that it
mhm.
doesn't keep growing. Um,
Absolutely.
and you need time with people to be able to do that. And then everything that we do is customized. We don't have any pre-packed,
Mm,
vitamin bags. We don't have any pre-packaged liquid herbs. Like
mm.
everything you see behind us right now, we do make individual
Yeah,
tonics and medicine and nutritional compounds and all that kind of stuff for every single person that we see. And I think that's
everyone.
so special.
Yeah, me
Super
too.
underrated.
Yeah. No, and look, I think it's really no two people are the same. And so no
Absolutely
two
not.
people should be treated the same either. And your version of your health and what's going on is so different to each other. And I think that individualized medicine is kind of where it's at.
And you know what I
Yeah.
love? Like, we have such a good team at Nourishing
Oh,
Apothecary,
amazing.
and
Mm.
you could see any one of us, and we might give you different stuff. We might treat you differently,
Yes.
but
Yes.
it would work because we all see
Yeah.
different things. And,
Yeah.
herbs have this amazing ability to overlap, right? So,
Hmm.
if I'm treating a viral something or other with a St. John's wort, when you do have a viral load, often you will feel anxious as well. And St. John's
Mm.
wort does both of those, right? I
Hmm.
try to explain to my patients, yes, I'm putting this herb in for this, but it also does these other 100 things. Like,
Mm.
herbs are
Yeah.
amazing at overlapping. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really cool medicine that we're kind of we're very fortunate to have access to provide people with.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really good.
So, since I've mentioned the girls, let's have a chat about Nourishing Apothecary and what we're doing here.
Yeah, so I Nourishing Apothecary kind of came about a couple of years ago now. When I wanted to get back into clinical practice, kind of post COVID and everything, I knew that I had always worked in other people's clinics. And I knew that when I wanted to get back into clinical practice again, I wanted it to be my clinic, but I didn't want it to be Jaime Naturopathy because I had this vision of a bigger kind of online and physical space clinic that was much bigger than me. And so the Nourishing Apothecary name kind of came about, and I had started doing some online consulting. And it wasn't until I think was it February the year before last that I joined TikTok.
Mhm.
And when I joined TikTok, everything exploded, absolutely exploded. And so I was consulting of an evening and I was very quickly booked up like a few months in advance, which was wild. And then I started thinking, oh my goodness, like maybe I could do this full time, which is fantastic because that's what I've been wanting to do. And then I found this amazing space in Western Sydney and I was able to, start doing this full time. And very quickly, that full time was then booked up a few months in advance.
That's
And
so
there was
exciting.
so many people that were wanting help,
Yeah.
and I'm only one person. And so that's when I thought, well, you know what? I think it's time, even though it's very soon, but I think it's time to start bringing on more practitioners.
Yeah, bring in the team.
And so I just kind of, put the call out, and Mel and I have known each other for years. And so Mel was one of the ones that reached out to me and said that, she wants to come kind of join the team. And I know how amazing a practitioner Mel is. So I was just like, yes, oh my God, absolutely. Come on in, which I was just so blessed because I really wanted to create this team of women that were just phenomenal practitioners. And I also love the idea of having different practitioners that could sort of specialize in different areas. So yes, the biggest thing we do is fertility. So I've got, Mel, who is amazing at everything, but also fertility. And then I've also got Danielle, who's really good with fertility. She's really good with new mamas and postpartum because she's a
Mm.
mama of 4, which is
Mhm.
just phenomenal.
Amazing.
I know, she is like superwoman. And then to be able to span the team further, I'm really lucky that I've got Tony, who is our menopause, perimenopause queen, who is really great at helping women with weight loss, which is an area that a lot of women struggle because there's a lot of
Mhm.
different causes and roots to why women are
Yeah.
struggling with weight loss. And she's really good at getting down to the, depths of that. And then I've also got Jess. Jess is my all-rounder, but she's really good at complex conditions and gut. She loves
Mm.
getting deep into some good gut symptoms and, good sort of microbiome testing. And then we've got Lainey, who is also a homeopath like I am. So I'm a naturopath and homeopath. She's also both, but her specialty is children. So knowing that we've got that pediatric practitioner on the team is amazing because we
Yeah.
just see so many children. And a definite little extra specialty with hers is all the beautiful spicy brains. So ADHD, autism. She is just amazing and she gets beautiful results. So it caps off this really well-rounded team where people can really feel like no matter what the issue is, we've got someone here that can support you. And
Absolutely.
it's been amazing.
And there's no one practitioner for everyone. Do you know what I mean? Like I know
No.
with us, we swap between
Yep.
seeing different people as they need different kind of things,
Yes.
in their life.
Mm.
And the really interesting thing about what you said before about naturopathy kind of coming to us and,
Mm.
falling into it is that you've attracted this amazing team from all over
Mm.
Australia and beyond, like Tony's in Bali.
Yeah.
And, it's not about like them all being in Western Sydney with you. It's about who's going to be the
Mm.
best fit for
Yeah.
kind of growing this team that
Mm.
is all patient centered. It's all about
Yeah.
what's going to help deliver, the best kind of health results for our patients.
But, being an online clinic, the other thing as well that has been so interesting to me is that we get people from like really rural parts of Australia,
Yeah,
literally from
definitely.
every corner. And you guys, like, we have so many beautiful women that live on these huge farms and
Mhm.
properties, and they're nowhere near anything.
Yeah,
And they also need help. And so the fact
definitely.
that we can help people no matter where they are, when there's no other kind of local help available, has been wonderful. And everything gets packed and made from Western Sydney, from where I am now. And then we post it everywhere. So it's really lovely that no matter where you are, you don't have to feel limited in the
Yeah,
access to these kind of services and this kind of like level of quality of help
yeah,
that we can
definitely.
offer as well,
And we're making
which to
all
me
that
is big,
individually
big
for
deal.
each beautiful
Yes.
woman. We do the scripts, we do the creation, of the
Mm,
scripts, we do all of that liquid
mm.
mixing, all of that nutritional compounding, and then you post it out in this beautiful little box. It's like a present. It's so
I
cute.
know.
It's
I know.
lovely. It's
I
very
love it.
special. And you did
I
mention
think so.
homeopathy as well. We are
Yes.
gonna do a whole episode on that. So if you're kind of listening and
Yes.
going, "What is that?" We're gonna do a whole episode on that. So just keep your ear to the
Absolutely.
ground, and we'll
Yes.
go into that and explain all of that. For
Absolutely.
now, Do you want to tell me how your clinic is currently looking like? What are you seeing? Who are you helping? You
Yeah.
know, what's kind of going on there? Because that will kind of tell people what we're going to talk about in the future. I think we'll really get into the
Yeah,
specifics.
for
But
sure.
what is it looking like at the moment?
Yeah, so at the moment, I'd say I see it's a lot of fertility for one thing,
Mhm.
right? And so whether that is couples that come and see me because they've been trying to conceive for a long time and it hasn't happened,
Mhm.
or they're just at the beginning of their journey, right? So some people know, oh, I have PCOS, I have irregular periods, I have just come off the pill, and I want to set my body up to prepare for pregnancy,
Mhm.
which I love, right? If you can give me a preparation window, I will love it in
Yes.
terms of getting ready to conceive. I'm a big fan. So that aspect, right? So fertility is huge, and that can be for male and for female. So I often will get couples come in together, which is amazing. And then off the back of that, a lot of hormonal stuff. So, like I said, PCOS, a lot of endo, a lot of, heavy, irregular periods where women have just been dismissed or kind of just made to believe that that's normal when it is absolutely not.
Mhm.
And, we have a lot to be able to help in that regard.
Yeah.
I also see a lot of thyroid issues. I see a lot of what I see. Yeah, it's like I said, the fibromyalgia, the chronic fatigue. I do see that. But then there's a lot of weird and wonderful stuff. So a lot of gut stuff, a lot of digestion stuff, a
Mhm.
lot of nervous system, a lot of sleep issues, a lot of anxious feelings, a lot of low moods, a lot of stress going on in a lot of people's
Yeah.
lives. And that's something that naturopathy can really help with for sure.
Yep.
They're probably, I mean, that's a lot, but that's probably the most common
So
things, plus
anything
like a
that's
few
wrong
really
with you?
pretty much. I'd probably say they're the most common things that I'm seeing at the moment
What's your weird and
on
wonderful
my
things?
roster.
Have you got one off the top of your head?
Look, I mean, I had a lovely young girl come and see me at Christmas time, and I thought it was going to be just normal kind of period stuff. And she was like, "So I get these headaches, and they're like electric shocks in my brain every single day, and sometimes it's 5 times a day, and I've been having
Oh
it
my
every single day for a year."
gosh.
And I
Oh
was like, "Whoa,
no.
hang on, what do you mean?" Yeah, I was like, "What?" Anyway, so I'm like, "Okay, have you seen a neurologist? Have you had an MRI? Have you done, She's like, "I've done all of that, all the specialists.
Mm.
Everyone says everything is fine, but they're still happening."
Mhm.
So, because when we do get stuff like that, if anything has a red flag to me that it could be more sinister, I am always wanting you to make sure we are ruling out anything bad,
Yeah. I
right?
think that if
100%.
that's a really good point because I think a lot of people, if
Yes.
I can just sidetrack for a sec, they think
Yeah.
naturopathy, we're just like, no offense, but like we are not into mainstream medicine. We don't
Yeah.
eat meat. We
Yeah.
like, there's
Yeah.
lots of
Yeah. Yeah.
assumptions about
For sure.
naturopaths, and it's just not the case. We work really closely with doctors and
Yes.
specialists, especially with fertility.
Definitely.
Like we just have
Yeah.
to. And I love that. I
Yes.
love working with
Yeah.
them.
Me
Keep
too.
going.
Yeah. So rule out anything scary, right? So everything
Hmm.
scary had been ruled out, but they were still happening.
Yeah.
So when I dug into it with her and I tried to find out patterns and when they were happening or when they were worse, it seemed to be that they were worse before her period.
Yeah.
Now we know estrogen, and we're learning more. Estrogen does weird things in the body. And when you have too much estrogen before your period, you can often get really weird stuff happening.
Yep.
So I was looking at it from a potential hormonal imbalance kind of picture. And
Hmm.
so that's how I addressed it that way. I helped her body break down that estrogen better. I worked on some hormonal balance stuff with the herbs. Anyway, when I saw her last week, she hasn't had a headache since Christmas.
Yay. I want to clap, but I don't know if it'll be too loud for our listeners. It's fantastic. Like, isn't the thing is, there's
Right?
this huge gap between, hey, there's nothing wrong with you, but that
Yeah.
means there's nothing we can kind of give you to help.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
fill that gap a lot of the time. And so
Yeah.
you have
And
literally
look at this
given her
wall,
quality of
right?
life back.
100%.
Yeah. You've
100%.
She can't live like that. That's not fair.
I know.
And
Like,
you fixed it. Like, it's so
I know.
exciting.
It's so exciting.
And
So,
that
yeah,
kind of
so
thing,
we
we
keep going, but
we
like,
see
it's
that every
so
week.
positive. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
All
I
how
love it.
many? There's 5 of us, right? And we share our success
6.
stories. Is this 6 of
6.
us? And we share our success stories every week, right? And
Mm.
even for myself, reading
I
the
know.
girls' stories and then thinking, what have I done this week? What have people said? It's so magical. Like
I
I'm
know.
forever like flabbergasted at what
I
we can
know.
do with this type of
Yeah.
medicine. It's yeah, it blows my
Yeah.
mind. Even
I
I'm
know. Me too.
15 years later and I'm still going, what?
I know. It's
It's so
amazing.
good.
It really is. So, yeah, what do
Yeah.
you think what are the main things you see in clinic? Like, what have you been seeing a lot lately?
Oh, this is always such a hard question for me to answer. I find it so difficult. Basically, everything you've just said.
Yeah.
I see lots of endometriosis and adenomyosis at the moment. Like that
Mm,
seems to be, I've been through my own real kind of, path with
mm,
those diseases, and that will be a future episode also,
for
just
sure.
dropping that. And so yeah, like I think that the universe does send you people that you can help, for sure,
Mm, yeah.
that you're going to understand, and
Yeah.
that you're going to be able to help. So I see lots of that, lots of that.
Yeah.
I'm also, one of my favorite things at the moment is sperm. I'm just obsessed. I'm obsessed with sperm. I actually get into my little sperm kind of brain and I'm like, I'm a sperm. I've got this beautiful big fat head and I've got this long sexy tail and I'm like, what do I need? What do
Mhm.
I need to make this baby?
Mm,
To swim up, to stop going around in circles.
mm.
Like I'm all about it. Listeners are gonna go mental for that. They're gonna be like, "What's Mel? She's a sperm?" Okay.
Yeah.
I just love working with sperm. I love it.
Yeah.
I think one of the main things is we can get results so quickly with sperm generally. So I see
That's
that
exactly what I
turnaround.
was thinking. It's
Yeah.
so funny.
It's like,
I say that to women all the time. I'm like, "I'm sorry, but guys, of no shock to any woman, men are really easy for us to fix."
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's my ADHD brain, right? I'm a spicy. So I'm like, dopamine, dopamine. I want the reward center lit up for your sperm's better,
Yeah.
your sperm's better, your sperm's better. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
lots of that as well. I think there's a
Mm,
huge correlation between endometriosis and ADHD. So often my
mm.
women, that correlates there.
Yeah.
So I see lots of that as well. But I get, like
Mm.
I said, I get lots of gut stuff. I do lots of microbiome testing. That's always
Yeah, you do love to
fascinating.
test. Yeah.
And it's all part of, human. It's the same picture.
Mm,
So I
mm,
think I find the question really difficult to answer because I'm like,
mm.
I just don't split people up into their diseases or conditions or
Yeah.
symptoms. I'm like
Yeah,
seeing them
totally.
as this whole human puzzle.
Mm,
And it's
yeah.
about putting the pieces together, and
And I
just
think everyone
building
through
that.
these podcasts that we're gonna do, I think one of the things that we really wanna highlight is just how complex, like, even naturopathy consultations and stuff are. So
Yeah.
you guys will start to kind of really get a picture of how when you're in a naturopathic consult, we ask you about everything. And I think that's one of the things about even just for you guys to kind of hear how Mel and I talk
Yeah.
is to kind of hear the inside of our brains as we're thinking and making all these beautiful connections because that's what we do. And I was actually just listening to this really interesting podcast with Tony Robbins and the Diary of a CEO. And one of the things that Tony Robbins was saying is one of the abilities is to learn how to see pattern recognition.
Mm,
And I was like, oh, that is what naturopaths do. One
yeah.
thing we really do is we sense patterns
Yeah.
and we sense these kind of connections between things.
Mm,
And we identify that. And it was such a
yeah.
funny thing when I was thinking about it because I was like, that's what we do. The more we see of people, the more we start to see these patterns of how
Yeah.
everything's connected.
Mine's always
Yeah. And
puzzles
so
in my
that's,
head. Like, I love
yeah. Oh,
puzzles.
yeah.
So I'm putting the border on first, the first consult. I'm literally building that
Okay.
border of the puzzle. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to focus on this corner. Let's put that corner together. And then I'm going to focus on this corner. And then
Mm.
like bring that whole puzzle together. It's a
Do you know,
human
it's so
puzzle to
I
me.
have a mind map. I have a mind map in my head.
Yeah. Yep.
That's how my brain goes. I say to everybody, above my head right now is a mind map of you, and I'm putting all the connections together in the mind map, and it's like a bubble.
Yeah.
So
I
it's so
love
funny
that.
how you say it's like a
And
puzzle.
other naturopaths
It's
will
funny,
tick it
different
off
brains.
their list. Let's start with
Mm,
your first thing and let's
yeah.
tick. Let's tick it all off and
Mm,
get it the hell out of your life so that you don't have to
yeah.
feel that way. But
Mm,
we see complexity, right? We
yeah.
see complex cases and we see complexity, but we see the complexity. Like that's part of the pattern
Yes.
recognition. Like, oh my God, I'm getting really excited now.
I know.
We're going to unpack it. Like, we're going to unpack all this stuff. And I'm really excited to do that with you because you mentioned TikTok before. You built your business with TikTok.
Yeah.
You've made me go on TikTok. I am happy on TikTok now. But one of the things that we can't do on TikTok is unpack stuff this
Yeah.
deeply. So this is why we started the
Yes.
podcast.
Yes.
I'm so
Yeah. We want it to
excited.
be, an extension of that. And just, so we can get down into some deep topics.
Mhm.
And also just, I honestly think as we talk, I just feel like so many people don't realize that there's help available for these things. So
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
like when I do a TikTok on a certain topic, people are like, what do you mean I can get help with that? What do you mean? And then that just kind of triggers them this like, oh my gosh. Because so often when people come and have a consult with us, one of the first questions I always ask people is, have you seen a naturopath before? And so often the answer is no. And I love that because I am like, oh, welcome. Like this is so I'm so excited.
You've got a virgin, a naturopath virgin. Let me show you what we can do.
Oh, absolutely.
So, you know
And it
me,
is
every episode will come down to sex of some kind.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of
Yeah.
a dirty
Mhm.
innuendo there.
Mhm.
But it's so exciting. And so that's where it's kind of like TikTok kind of plants the seed for you guys. And then, through these podcasts, we can kind of go into a lot more information, a lot more detail into what we're trying to explain to you. Whereas in TikTok, everything is like, I'm trying to do it really fast because everybody's really short attention spans.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
fine.
people are time
Yeah.
poor, you can listen to this in the
Totally.
car, you can listen to this while you're gardening, like whatever.
Yeah.
You can put us on triple speed if we don't speak fast enough, which I think we speak pretty fast. But
I don't think that'll be a problem.
when you mention like, those kind of deep dive topics, so I'm thinking like, let's talk about the juicy herbal medicine stuff. I did a few TikToks on like, this herb does this, and they were really popular. People like, we want to know more. What does each herb do? Because each herb deserves its own book, novel. Each herb can do so many different things. So there's that.
Totally. Yeah.
What else are we going to unpack? Naturopathy, its core. We'll talk about homeopathy. What about what are you thinking? What about conditions?
One of the, conditions, but I also really want to unpack, because that's also part of my homeopathy brain, the impact of trauma.
Love it.
On people's physical health. That's a really big topic that I want to be able to kind of really get stuck into and really help explain to people.
Yeah.
Because often that is the root cause for so much.
Huge correlation, childhood trauma and endometriosis as well, we know now.
Definitely.
Yes.
So
Sorry, Mum and
that's going to
Dad.
be a biggie. Yeah. So definitely that sort of stuff. But then I think even just fertility is going to be something that we really dig deep into as well,
Oh,
right?
look,
So not only
couple of seasons worth there.
for sure, but not only, some of the ways that we can improve your fertility, because there's so much, but some of the things that might be impeding your fertility. So what might be happening in your life, in your environment, that can be impacting your fertility. And that's a really great topic for us to be digging deep into as well, because often, especially in a consultation, we start getting into it, but we don't have time. So this is the time where we can just really unpack all those kind of aspects, because we're learning more and more.
We've got some great resources to do that as well, where, we're just creating some of those, but there's one available right now. It's our fertility retreat. So we're hoping to spend a big chunk of time with people to really do that, like in person.
Absolutely.
You, me, 8 couples, 4 or 5 days, I'm going to
4
feed
days,
everyone. Yeah, thanks.
It's going to be amazing.
I'll just stay the extra day on my own. Like those kind of things. I've just finished, we're going to release a prep meal plan. We've got a 4-week prep, lifestyle plan. We're going to try and put these things into place for people so that they have the ability to learn and do outside of that limited time with us.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is not limited compared to medical model. So, but still.
And also I think and I think as well, the way that, everybody kind of consumes media is a little bit different. And so that's where, the short version of TikTok versus the long version can also suit different people's needs and the way that they enjoy that. And, that's another in terms of educational stuff. On the Nourishing Apothecary website, our journal, which is like the blog, is just a wealth of information. So every week, at least once a week, one of the practitioners has written an article which goes live on
Yeah.
all different amazing topics. So that's a really good place to be able to find more information. If you're someone that loves to be able to sit in bed and have a read,
Hmm.
really great resources there as well available to people.
And I do think it's worth mentioning, Jamie, you have done something really cool. You've taken basically all of the products that
Mm,
are high quality, that are available retail, because something to note is that not everything that we prescribe is available
mm,
for people to purchase willy-nilly, right? They do need
mm.
scripts. But you
Yes.
have basically created this online health food store of,
Mm,
your like very picky products, things that we
yes.
approve of, things that we recommend, naturopath approved.
Mm,
So there is definitely a
mm.
financial kind of block for some people in
Yep,
seeing a naturopath. And like for
for
myself,
sure.
I do pro bono work, but there's a limit to how much one person can, do that. And
Yeah.
lots of us do that. Lots of the other naturopaths as well. We help out wherever we can. But if a consult is out of reach, then that website is really
Mm,
curated by you, like
yep.
literally still completely by you. You do it with your
Yes.
10 fingers and one
Yes.
brain, enormous brain, but you've spent so much time doing that, and that
Yeah.
means that people can go and know that they're safe, they're approved,
Yeah.
you've looked into them, you literally look into them, and then you send them
Yeah.
to all of us, and then you're like, got them in the clinic, and you're showing us, like, you're so passionate about that, and I think that's awesome because it allows
Yeah.
people to have a safe place, I guess, to go
Yeah.
for
Thank you. And
supplements.
I think that sort of part really stemmed from the fact of just even being in clinic and when we ask people, what supplements are you taking? And they would show, the supplements and it's not good stuff,
Yeah.
right? And it's a lot of brands that are just not very good quality.
Yep.
And the thing is, when you've been in this industry as long as, Mel and I have, we know a lot and we know a lot about how this industry works.
Yeah.
And so we know that a vitamin is not a vitamin, right? They're different. They're different vitamins, there's different dosages, and then there's dosages to produce clinical results.
Yeah.
So
Different
we know,
forms.
right? And
Yeah.
it is so much more complex than
Mhm.
just going and getting a magnesium and expecting it's going to work.
Yeah.
Same with going and getting just a ashwagandha and expecting it's going to have the same benefit. And
Fish
we're going to
oil's
go into
my
a lot more.
bugbear.
I know. We're going to go into a lot more detail about
Yeah,
this. And that's
that
one of
I
the
love that.
education pieces as well. But like,
Yeah.
I wanted you guys to be like, okay, yes, if I'm coming onto the website, these are all the products that I would be recommending to my clients that I'm like, these are good options. You are safe
Yeah.
here. These are good recommendations. And also, there's a lot of really beautiful Australian brands, little small
Yeah.
Australian brands that are cropping
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
They're
Lots of mamas
amazing
making
quality.
awesome supplements. Yeah.
Ah, and that's what I love to be able to support and bring that together as well.
Native
And just
ingredients.
it's just
Magical.
there's some really cool stuff happening. And I wanted to be able to have a platform to be able to have all that together. And I think there's about 700 or so different products on the website now.
Yeah.
It is and growing every single
And just
day
as an
because there's more.
example, like
Mm,
one company, like one wholesaler might have 8,000 products. So when we
yeah.
say it's curated, 700 is nothing. It's
Yeah.
literally you have handpicked those 700.
Yes,
There's
absolutely.
so many supplements on the market, and it's not just about not having the right form or the right dose or the
Mm,
like a bit of a poorer quality. Some of those are harmful to people. So
yes.
we are really wanting to up people's education around that and
Yeah.
help them make choices that are going to be supportive of, because it all costs money. It all costs
Yeah.
time. Your body has to process it. Yeah, we want to make
Mm,
sure that people are getting results for the overall. We want people to feel better because that's what we do. So yeah,
yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's that coming back to the education aspect as well that, we really want to be able to provide with you guys so that if you even, because for me, this all stems from like years and years ago, I used to manage health food shops and just having so many people come in all the time and go to pick up, a fish oil or a magnesium. And I would be explaining to them how to read that label and how to interpret it so they sort of know what they're looking for.
yeah,
And then they kind of go, oh, right, I get it. Okay, I understand why you're saying that's important. I understand. And I
yeah,
want you to be able to, because so often people come in with a whole bucket full of supplements, but they
yeah,
don't know why they're taking any of these. So even just the same as in a consultation, I always like to explain to my clients that this is why I'm recommending these supplements for
Absolutely.
these very specific reasons, so
Yeah.
they get it as well.
There's
You know,
so
so
much to touch
everything.
on here. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my God, I know.
Because some naturopaths won't give their scripts out, and we make a really, like, mindful,
Yeah.
effort to make sure that people know exactly what they're on. I give them the herbs, I give them the dose, I give them the supplement, I
Mm,
give them the brand. There's
yeah.
no what?
Gatekeeping.
Yeah, no, none of that. No, you have
No.
your stuff. If you need to come back and see me, you come back and see me, but you don't have
Mm,
to. You know
mm,
what you're taking.
yeah. But I think
Yeah.
because of that level of trust people do though,
Yeah.
and like
Oh, yeah.
the trust aspect is so important,
We're
you know?
partners. It's never me and my patient, never me and my patient. We're partners. Like, I wanna
Mm,
get you on board. I want you to be,
mm,
just as invested. I'm invested in every single one of
yeah.
my patients, and I want them to be invested as well.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, I it's we're partners. Yeah, and
Yeah, I
it's
think
really
that's a really
rewarding.
nice way of kind of putting it as well. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is all the fun stuff you're going to
We
be
have
hearing from
so
us.
much to talk about. I'm so excited we're doing this.
Me
Yeah,
too.
can't tell
Me
you.
too. I know. Ah,
Let's yeah, aim for episode 2. We're gonna do herbal medicine
excellent.
explained a little bit more. We're gonna do the body's innate
Yes.
healing. We're gonna do some really
Yes.
fun stuff. And if you need to check out more, you can find all of the resources and links in the show notes. And we can't wait to
Absolutely.
see you for episode 2.
And thank you so much for listening to our first episode.
Bye for
Yay.
now. Thank you so much for being here with us today. If something in this episode resonated, just know there's always a way to explore it further and support your body the way it needs. You can find out more by going to the website nourishingapothecary.com or reach out if you're ready for more personalised care. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep listening to your body.